Count it down.
What's it like being a dad of twins?
It's hectic. Crazy. It's fun.
Toby and I met in Alaska when we worked at the airport there together. We have a blended family, and we both just had a lot in common. Twins do run in my family. They run all over the place.
Who has twins in your family?
My sister also has a set of identical twin girls. And I have a cousin with twins too. Even though I was on birth control at the time, I had been taking antibiotics because I had been sick. Now I find out it's because of celiac, but at the time I was undiagnosed and I had been getting sick a lot with my autoimmune disease. And when I went to the doctor, they ended up doing a ultrasound, and as soon as they did the ultrasound, I saw 2 little jelly beans on the screen. And then I started crying. As I knew immediately, I mean, obviously, I've been pregnant before with my 2 older sons. I knew that it was twins. I was super excited, also shocked at the same time, and very scared. Because I knew the pregnancy was going to be tough. I've had difficult pregnancies in the past because of celiac, and I just didn't know what was going to happen. And then I took pictures and sent it to Toby while he was at the airport waiting for his flight. I tried my hardest to be prepared for anything that might happen. I was obsessed with learning as much as I could about what to expect with twins, especially because I knew that you could have some difficulty in the delivery. Every night I researched what I could find. Most of the research that I found came from other twin parents, especially bloggers. There's not a ton of information out there about pregnancy or parenting with multiples, so that's one reason why I wanted to start this project. Toby and we decided on the names Finnegan and Lincoln. I chose Finn because Adventure Time is my favorite show ever, and Finn was just a fun, adventurous name. I figured twins, they were going to be having a lot of fun together, taking a lot of adventures together. And Toby decided to name Link after Link from Zelda, which was his favorite video game growing up. So to kind of make them similar, since they're twins, we went with the longer versions of Lincoln and Finnegan to put them together. I think I was overly prepared. Like, I was obsessed with making sure that we had everything that we needed. And even then, we almost weren't prepared because we had to try so many different things with them. Link had, he was born with his tongue tied, so he wasn't able to breastfeed. We ended up trying almost every single soother, binky, bottle, sippy cup that we could find. He spent a lot of time with Toby while I fed Finn. While I fed Finn, he would feed Lincoln. My pregnancy, personally, was challenging, more so than the average multiple pregnancy, which has its own challenges. Most twin pregnancies, full term is at, I believe, 32 weeks, 2 weeks earlier than a full term pregnancy for a singleton baby. So you will have an earlier pregnancy due date, especially the larger amount of multiples you have. So if you have triplets, it's even 4 weeks shy of when, or even earlier. So So having smaller babies can be a challenge. Making sure their lungs are developed. Multiple births are almost always in a operating room. You're almost always going to be recommended to have a C-section by a specialist. And you're always going to be high risk throughout your pregnancy with lots of testing. And you'll also be in a neonatal ICU intensive care unit with your twins. Most twins are. We were lucky we didn't have to do that, though. Luckily, we were very lucky. The pregnancy for the twins went really well. When they were born, they were healthier than I was. I had a lot of challenges with my autoimmune disease. My bones and my muscles basically just fell apart. I have a lot of nerve damage still that I'm still recovering from, and they just turned 3. So it's taken me 3 years to recover from their birth. A typical schedule for us usually involves making a schedule and then throwing it away. Planning to plan, I guess, is what you could say. We try to make plans. For the most part, though, we really focus on just getting things done for the family, and making sure the kids have everything that they need. It hasn't been easy, for sure. When we first brought the twins home, my back actually broke during delivery, and I was on medication for 6 weeks after the birth. After I stopped taking the medication, it still felt like I had just given birth to them, and I was having problems walking. I pretty much had to fight for my health, and just getting somebody to believe me that something was wrong. Like I thought maybe my hip was broken. I actually ended up going to an emergency room and demanding for somebody to listen to me, and they finally took x-rays and sent me to an orthopedic surgeon, actually to a neurologist, because my back was broken. It was really challenging. The first doctor I went to said, "We'll keep an eye on it." I don't know how they expected me to take care of newborn twins from a bed. That was challenging in itself, being able to take care of newborns and not being able to walk. And then going through probably 4 more different doctors until I found the right doctor. The doctor I knew was right, that would actually make a difference for me. I was referred to an orthopedic surgeon that wanted to perform a surgery that was outdated, 20 years, and required 6 months of recovery, which was not an option for me. And having extremely risky surgery that might not have had the results that I wanted. So I went to a spine and brain doctor who had a more modern surgery technique where they removed part of my spine, put in a synthetic disc, and then fused everything together, and I grew a new spine. It was the worst surgery I've ever had. The recovery was not easy. I would say it probably took 6 months for my pain to be bearable, and then manageable probably a year, where I didn't require any type of medication or any type of physical therapy. I could walk without pain, basically, and basically be back to normal as possible I still have some damage that's unrepairable that I'm learning how to manage. we like to, we find time to take for ourselves. We find different adult activities to go and do together and go on dates when we can. We really have to make time for it. I mean, it's always going to be something that needs to be done, so we just find time to make for ourselves. You have to. The kids are very different age ranges. My oldest is a teenager. He obviously has different interests from an 8-year-old or 3-year-olds. He has his friends that he does things with. Interested a lot in games. And now, because of the uncertain times we live in, he'll be doing school from home, and we're going to be trying to find social activities for all of the kids when we can. And I'll be teaching them as much as possible new skills for their age ranges.
So would you do it all again?
I would, definitely. Definitely. It was a blessing in disguise, even though we've been through a lot. It was like a really hard, long road when we started. Every day has just gotten better and better. And so many things now are better than when we first started because of it. I'm sure we'll have some challenges that we don't know about, but I think the most important thing is you just have to keep going. It's been
just
like
keep swimming.
been like a blur. I think back now and I'm just like, I can't believe it was that long ago. But then some days I'm like, you know, like 6 months ago was so different already. It's crazy.
And looking at the whole thing, it's gone really quick. But looking at individual parts, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, so much changes. 6 months to 6 months.
Changes so fast.
So.
And I would say, like, that was probably the hardest thing, was just they grow up so fast, and they change like overnight, and you look back and you're just like, I wish I could hold that one more. Like, it was hard just like figuring out which one you wanted to pick up first when they're both crying, and taking more time to spend with them is really hard, especially individually. You basically have to do everything together. You're always doing the same thing twice.
So, any more kids?
Physically, it's impossible for me to have more kids. I had my tubes taken out right after I had them because of issues I was having. So, even if we wanted to, it probably wouldn't be a good idea with the amount of twins that run in the family. Our house basically turned into an airport with the amount of baby gates that you have to use. You need to baby-proof everything. You need to research every baby product that's ever been invented, and plan on spending a lot of time at baby doctors. And other than that, just smile. It gets easier. It's very important to have a very strong support system when you bring 2 babies home.